Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Church in Fall River, Mass.
Good morning, Fall River. It's so lovely to be here on this beautiful sunny day. My name's Reverend Terry Cummings. I get to use the Reverend term maybe once or twice a year these days when I preach from time to time. Sometimes I forget that I'm a Reverend Terry. So it's lovely to be here to spend this wonderful Sunday morning with you folks together this morning. And I've noticed that I know that the heat's gone out, but it's nice and warm. And there's lots of sun over that side of the sanctuary. The sun will not go out for several million years, so you're quite safe if you sit on that side of the sanctuary. So I'm going to invite Richard up to light the chalice, and we have some chalice lighting words that I will read to you. They're from Reverend Deborah Falk. It's one of my favorite chalice lighting words that I found. A chalice lit in our midst is a symbol of our liberal faith, a faith built on the foundations of freedom, reason, and welcome, a faith sustained by acts of kindness and justice, a faith that envisions a world flourishing with equality for all people, a faith that demands the living out of goodness, a faith that requires thoughtfulness, a faith of wholeness. The tiny flame is a symbol of the spark of all of these things within us. And now I invite you to join in singing hymn number 396, I Know This Rose Will Open. So this hymn is a very short hymn. It was written by a dear friend of mine, Reverend Mary Gregolia. She's just a few years older than me, and she just retired from ministry, I think a couple of years ago. She's a wonderful musician, pianist, and she was my spiritual advisor for a couple of years. So I always think of Reverend Mary when I sing this song. Number 396, I Know This Rose Will Open.
I'll play it one time through, and then we'll say it 3 times. Three chances to get it right. I know this rose will
Thank you. You did great. And now our affirmation is number 461 in the Grey Hymnal. We must be saved. I guess I'll read the first line and then you read the response. Nothing that is worth doing can be achieved in our lifetime. Nothing which is true or beautiful or good makes complete sense in any immediate context of history. Nothing we do, however virtuous, can be accomplished alone. No virtuous act is quite as virtuous from the standpoint of our friend or foe as it is from our standpoint. We must be saved by the final form of love, which is forgiveness. Thank you so much. Please be seated. Boy, some mutual forgiveness would be great in our country these days, wouldn't it? Would anybody like to share some announcements at this time?
Hi, everybody. So nice to be here today. Thank you so much for taking us today. Reverend Terry, it's so nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Appreciate you coming. And I wanted to let everyone know that Rooney Saha will be with us next week. I have a question for our church. We haven't received it yet, but and the invitation to ordination is on. I'll send you Walter. And I also wanted to let people know that our beloved Diane Darling is in the hospital. You didn't know that already. But I have a card, I'll send it around. I saw her yesterday, and her spirits are unbelievably good. Are you shocked at how happy she is, regardless of the fact that she's recovering from an injury?
Yes.
She's just her usual bubbly self, really shocked and amazing. So grateful for that. So I will send her.
Are there any other announcements?
Good morning, everyone. So we tinkered with sound today, so hopefully you all can hear me better. So let us know if this sounds okay and if the main might sound okay. After our service, we're going to call-up, so hopefully they'll join us. And then during that time, I'm going to be hosting a community listening session as part of the United Faith Action, UIA. So folks want to participate, I'd love to have you participate. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'll just make one announcement. I'd like to say hello to Paulette, who's online, and Dale, who's online. Or Dale should say, Dale, child of the universe. That's what he put down there.
I could invite Tracy up to share a reading with us.
Our reading today is from the Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. This was written on Wednesday, February 23rd, 1944. It reads, "My dearest Kitty, the weather's been wonderful since yesterday, and I've perked up quite a bit. My writing, the best thing I have, is coming along well. I go to the attic almost every morning to get the stale air out of my lungs. This morning, when I went there, Peter was busy cleaning up. He finished quickly and came over to where I was, sitting on my favorite spot on the floor. The two of us looked out at the blue sky, the bare chestnut tree glistening with dew, the seagulls and other birds glinting with silver as they swooped through the air. And we were so moved and entranced that we couldn't speak. He stood with his head against the thick beam while I sat. We breathed in the air, looked outside, and both felt that the spell shouldn't be broken with words. We remained like this for a long while, and by the time he had to go to the loft to chop wood, I knew he was a good, decent boy. He climbed a ladder to the loft, and I followed. During the 15 minutes he was chopping wood, we didn't say a word either. I watched him from where I was standing and could see he was obviously doing his best to chop the right way and show off his strength. But I also looked out the open window, letting my eyes roam over a part of Amsterdam, over the rooftops and onto the horizon, a strip of blue so pale it was almost invisible. As long as this exists, I thought, this sunshine and this cloudless sky, and as long as I can enjoy it, how can I be sad? The best remedy for those who are frightened, lonely, or unhappy is to go outside somewhere they can be alone with the sky, nature, and God. For then, and only then, can you feel that everything is as it should be, and that God wants people to be happy amid nature's beauty and simplicity. As long as this exists, and that should be forever, I know that there will be solace for every sorrow, whatever the circumstances. I firmly believe that nature can bring comfort to all who suffer. Oh, who knows, perhaps it won't be long before I can share this overwhelming feeling of happiness with someone who feels the same as I do."
Please join in our responsive reading. It's number 654 in your grey hymnal, Impassioned Clay. I'll read the first line. Deep in ourselves resides the religious impulse. We have religion when we stop deluding ourselves that we're self-sufficient, self-sustaining, or self-derived. We have religion when our hearts are capable of leaping up at beauty, when our nerves are edged by some dream in our heart. We have religion when we look upon people with all their failings and still find in them good. When we look beyond people to the grandeur in nature and to the purpose in our own heart. We have religion when we've done all that we can and then in confidence entrust ourselves to the life that is larger than ourselves. Thank you. Please rise in body or spirit as you're able and join in singing our next hymn, number 95 in the great hymnal. There is more love somewhere. Peace. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. Joy. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere. Thank you. Please be seated. Unitarians and Universalists often say that love is at the heart of our religious beliefs. Love of people, love of our planet, love of justice. Seeing video footage of the protests in Minneapolis a few weeks ago, though, got me thinking about another human quality: courage. And I've been thinking that after love, maybe courage is perhaps our most important human quality. I've also been thinking that courage is embedded in the 7 UU principles that many of us still continue to hold dear. So I decided it was time to dedicate a service to our human capacity to be brave after watching the cold-blooded killing of Renee Good and Alex Pretty, and the response of people everywhere to those killings. It's probably a good thing that people don't remember the moment they were born. The instant that we left the safety of the womb and drew our first breath was probably a moment of sheer terror. We thus begin our lives by being scared out of our wits. And immediately our instinct to breathe overcomes our fear, and from that moment on, courage is our constant companion on our life's journey. I know that sounds a bit hyperbolic, and that most of us don't see ourselves as particularly courageous. But it seems to me that we humans are hardwired to be brave, and that our bravery shows up in all sorts of ways all the time, individually and collectively. Not just in the hard moments like losing our jobs or coping with the loss of a loved one. Those are times, of course, when our bravery shows up. But just in the task of everyday living. I don't remember a time when there have been so many horrific wars going on simultaneously in so many different places. Every day the news media brings pictures of more and more images of death and destruction all around the world. Have you noticed, though, that often in the background of the scenes of bombings and missile strikes, there are signs that paint a story of hope? The camera catches images of people finding ways to live normally when normalcy has disappeared, like cooking a simple meal over a fire under a canvas. The TV cameras bring us images of people caring for their children, their elderly parents, their spouses, and their friends, despite the destruction going on around them. Holding on to hope when just making it through every day requires enormous courage. I don't think I'll ever forget seeing images of people in Minneapolis and Los Angeles protesting against the ICE agents. Masked and heavily armed men in military uniform did not deter our fellow citizens from showing up and standing up for our local immigrant population. And even after Renee and Alex lost their lives, the courage of people who took to the streets to bear witness to government-sponsored violence stood out like a beacon for all to see. I couldn't believe how brave these people were, and I wondered if I would be brave enough myself to show up the way they did. These last many months of seeing the world turned upside down in so many different ways. A couple of weeks ago, 9 million people showed up at 3,000 different events for peaceful marches under the banner of No Kings. And just as an aside, I heard recently that King Charles III is coming to visit the United States in a few weeks. I wonder if there'll be any No Kings parades when he's visiting. Wouldn't that be fun? I can't wait for Saturday Night Live to do a skit about that. It would be so funny. Speaking out against injustice has been part of the human experience for millennia. And for millennia, people who have had the courage to do so have paid a very steep price. Who can forget the image of the tank man in Tiananmen Square, China, a few years ago? How incredibly brave it was to stand in front of a tank. Or the thousands of Russian citizens who turned out to protest after the invasion of Ukraine and the response that they faced under Putin's regime. During the recent ICE surge in Minneapolis, there were news reports that some schools in the area saw a drop-off in student attendance, all because people were afraid for their children that they would be abducted by Customs and Border Patrol. Many of those families fled from violence and persecution in their countries of origin. I chose today's reading from the Diary of Anne Frank because of her situation in 1942 was not unlike the situation faced by America's immigration community today. The stoicism she and her family showed while hiding in a secret apartment seems to epitomize the courage of those immigrants who are hiding in their apartments all across the country. We can only imagine what it must have been like to have been a Jewish family hiding from the Gestapo during the dark days of World War II. And we can scarcely imagine the terror that immigrant children today and their families are living through because of the threat of abduction by ICE. There are many dissimilarities between ICE and the Gestapo, of course, but the fear and separation from community experienced by immigrant families as they worry about being arrested and deported are, I'm guessing, quite similar. Much the same as the feelings that Anne Frank and her family had in Amsterdam back in 1942. Anne Frank was born in Frankfurt, Germany in 1929. Her father, Otto, was a successful businessman. After the Nazis rose to power in Germany in 1933, Otto, his wife Edith, moved to Amsterdam with 4-year-old Anne and 7-year-old Margot. Otto was once again successful in business in Amsterdam. After war came to Europe in 1939, Otto actually filed paperwork with the US Embassy in Rotterdam to enter the United States for safety. But in May of 1940, the US consulate was bombed by the Luftwaffe, and all the paperwork was lost. And a few months later, the Nazis entered Holland and took charge. Within a few months, Anne and her sister were forced to leave the local Montessori school where they were and enroll in the Jewish Lyceum. In June of 1942, Anne's parents gave her a diary for her 13th birthday. She journaled in it almost every day afterwards, addressing her diary entries to her imaginary friend, a young girl she called Kitty. A month after she received her diary, Anne's older sister Margot received papers, a summons, to report to work at a labor camp. Unknown to both Anne and Margot, her parents had been preparing for this day and had put aside living quarters in Otto's factory in Amsterdam. They had converted space stocked with food and clothing, and some of Otto's employees were also in on the secret. And there they remained until they were discovered by the Gestapo on August 4th of 1944, 2 years living without being able to go outside. When the Gestapo arrested them, they were immediately separated and transported, each to different concentration camps. And again, the parallel to our own time, when I'm thinking of all the immigrant children who are being sent to detention centers and other adult immigrants sent to El Salvador and other places. The girl's mother, Edith, would soon be murdered in a concentration camp. Margot and Anne Frank eventually were sent to the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp in northern Germany, and the two sisters died there of typhus in February or March of 1945, just a few weeks before the camp was liberated by the British troops. Miraculously, Otto, the girl's father, survived Auschwitz, and after the war, one of his former employees gave him Anne's notebooks and diary, which she'd been able to save from the Germans. Anne's diary records the inhuman treatment of the Jewish population of Holland during the war years. Jews were required to wear a yellow star, she wrote. Jews were required to turn in their bicycles. Jews were forbidden to use streetcars. Jews were forbidden to ride in cars, even their own. Jews were required to do their shopping between 3 and 5 p.m. and were forbidden to be out on the streets between 8 p.m. and 6 p.m. Jews were forbidden to visit Christians in their homes. How close is America to imposing restrictions like these on its people, on immigrants, on members of the LGBTQ community? Perhaps closer than many of us would like to think. And how much courage will we all need to reverse the current anti-immigrant, anti-gay, anti-woman rhetoric? I knew I wanted to include a reading from Anne Frank's diary when I chose the subject of courage for today's service. For me, her diary epitomized the courage that people show when the world around them goes stark raving mad. Does that resonate? The world going stark raving mad? But after the United States and Israel began their bombing campaigns in Iran, Anne's diary seemed even more relevant. There are several places in her journal where she describes the sound of bombs dropping nearby, this time by the British and the Americans on Amsterdam. And the fear that it caused and the courage it took to cope with this fear during the frequent bombardment just resonated with me all the more. We can only imagine the terror that people in Iran and Lebanon and all throughout the Middle East are experiencing in these last few weeks. Indeed, over the last several years. And we can't imagine the courage that it must take to live through this ordeal. My father was among the British troops who liberated the Belsen concentration camp in April of 1945. As a child, I would ask my dad often about his experiences during that war. He was always reluctant to share many details about the horrors he saw at Belsen. And I know he was deeply affected by it for the rest of his life. He didn't think of himself as a hero or as being particularly brave, but I know that like millions of others, he was. In the movie, The Wizard of Oz, one of Dorothy's companions is a cowardly lion who wants to have courage. And when they meet the Wizard of Oz in the Emerald City, the wizard gives the lion something to drink to give him courage. But it turns out that the lion was brave all along. Like the cowardly lion, we all have courage, more courage than we realize. None of us needs the wizard's potion. Anne Frank and her family were living proof of humanity's capacity to respond to fear with courage. As are the survivors of domestic violence who find a way to escape their abusers, and the women who began the Me Too movement, and all of those who've shown up to demonstrate against ICE in recent months. There isn't a single definition of courage. If you search the internet, you'll find there are many quotes by famous people saying what courage is. My favorite is the one by Nelson Mandela. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, he wrote, but the triumph over it. Everyone has had moments in our life when we had to dig deep within ourselves to triumph over our fear. There have been many occasions in my own life when I've had to face up to life's challenges and find courage I didn't know I had. Just like all of you, I'm betting. I bet if I invited all of you to share a memory of a time when you surprised yourself about how brave you are, your stories would be amazing. As you use, we affirm and promote many things, and I would like to add one more. Just as there is no limit on the amount of love that we all have, there is also no limit to our bravery. For to be human is to be brave. And I believe that in that simple truth lies hope that we will get through the stark, raving mad times through which we are living. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. And thank you for your attention and for listening to me. And now, it's time to take an offertory, I understand. So Richard gave me permission to tell you a story during the offertory. So, the United States Treasury has a place where used paper money goes when it's all crumpled and old and gets to be destroyed. And there was a $50 bill and a $1 bill on the conveyor belt waiting to go to be destroyed. And the $1 bill looks to the $50 bill and says, wow, your $50, you must have had a pretty important life. And the $50 bill said, yeah, I was once spent by Melania Trump, and Elton John spent me once, and I've had been in the wallets of so many popular people and well-known movie stars and rock stars and politicians. And the $50 bill says to the $1 bill, so how about you? What kind of life have you had? And the $1 bill says, well, I was put in the offering plate in the Methodist Church, and I was put in the plate of the ecclesiastical, the Episcopal Church. And once I was put in the plate of the Unitarian Church. And the $50 bill looked at the $1 bill and said, what's a church? So your offering will now be gratefully received. Thank you so much. And we come to that time in our service where we share joys and concerns. You note that I put on the order of service matters of the heart. That's because years ago, in a Sunday service, in a congregation I served, people would share so many joys about the sale that Home Depot was having about. So today we share matters of the heart. Remember that whatever is on your heart, if it's a sorrow, it will be diminished by the sharing. And if it is a joy, it will be magnified. So I invite you now, in accordance with your custom in this congregation, to share whatever is on your heart, the names of people, whatever you're thinking about. Please share them at this time.
Yesterday, I got a phone call from a young man that I had taught piano to in the early 90s. And he apparently recently moved back to his family home and had gone out for a walk and came walking through our neighborhood, kind of looking for the house. And talked to one of my neighbors, I don't know who yet, and got our phone number and called up. And he said that he wanted to thank me for getting me started in music, and that he wanted to report that he was now teaching trumpet at a French-speaking school in the Boston area.
Oh, he doesn't speak any
Okay,
French.
so he doesn't speak a word of French, and he maybe wants to brush up on his piano a little bit because he has a piano in his classroom.
So I have joy. My parents will be arriving back home from Florida tomorrow. So the joy is also a concern for me too. but it's more of a joy. And then I just wanted to ask for to lift up a friend of mine who I don't know how to say it. I discovered some unfortunate information about, and I'm struggling with that and struggling with how that must be also with that person. So, just wanted to lift that up.
I have a concern, just asking you all to keep a friend of mine, Lindsay, in your thoughts. She was hospitalized overnight, suffering substance abuse and mental illness and attempted suicide. Fortunately, she is safe now, but if anyone cares to lift her up, I would very much appreciate that.
I have a joy. The biggest joy was this week, watching our American astronauts conquer something that I had never seen in my life. The visual, the stuff that I acknowledged and seen was amazing. I don't know what else to say. I'm 62 years old, and I saw this, and I was like, are you serious? They are really in a spaceship going up at that speed and everything, and that joy was just so wonderful to know that our technology has changed in a huge, huge way for the better. Things are changing. And that, I had such a joy of watching. And then my concern is, well, today is Sunday, and it's getting to the point where we know that summertime is around the corner. And unfortunately, my situation is changing. I think it's medically because one thing is I noticed is that my doctors are confused. So I have to leave Fall River and go to Boston, that Israel and Mass General and get some tests because the people up here in Fall River are not really following exactly what should be happening. Technically, I have 8 days left for my battery, which means, as Eric might know too, he has a battery in his defibrillator too. 8 days I got, and I said to them, what do I do after 8 days? What happened? Does my heart stop? It can't stop. I have a defibrillator. It's going to pop me up and wake me up again. That's what a defibrillator does. And I'm like, okay. So I'm really concerned because if they don't know exactly what they're doing and what they want to do, then what the heck am I going to do? Just wait for the day that my battery stops. I'm concerned. I don't know what to do anymore. It's really, really mind-boggling. We change, we go to a moon, trying to do a simple operation, and it's technical, political, red tape, bull, as we all say. But like I said, my joy now is continuing to be focused. Coming here on Sunday has just been a blessing. I really feel the spirit. I really feel the joy of everyone around. I mean, this week coming up is going to be scary for me, but I'm going to take one day at a time. And that's starting tomorrow. It's going to be difficult, but I'll make it because I feel that everybody's prayers will be in my heart. And I think I'll be protected. And the guy upstairs is behind the moon watching me. Taking care of it. He's up there on the other side of the moon. As Pink Floyd would say, the dark side of the moon.
Thank you for sharing. Is there anyone else who'd like to share at this time? I'm going to invite you to just join me in a moment of prayer or meditation. Take a couple of deep breaths. Let go of all what the Buddhists call dukkha. Let go of all the dukkha, the stuff that's holding us back. And just welcome the breath. Welcome the breath into your body. Your beautiful bodies, your beautiful minds, your beautiful souls. And let go of all of the concerns. I invite you to pray or meditate with me at this time. Spirit of life and love, whose reflection we will never see in the waters around us, that listens to us and watches us in silence. We lift up our hearts and our prayers to you at this time. We are so grateful for the people we've known in the past, the students that we've taught, the musical talents they have. We're really appreciative of the family members who've been away and who are coming home soon. We sit in awe of those brave explorers, the astronauts who splashed down just this past Friday, and we think how wonderful it is to be human at this wonderful time. And we also are thinking about people who are suffering from substance abuse or other illnesses, different medical conditions. Holy One, we are also so grateful for the courage that every one of us carries in our hearts that enables us to get through such difficult times. We know that every one of us contains stardust left over from the time when time first began. Holy One, we ask that our stardust be joined together to form a new star, a star whose light will reach into all the places where suffering and fear exist. so that together in community we may be that light, that star that points the way for others to follow. Fueled by all of our love, the warmth of our star will touch the coldest of human hearts. Great Spirit, we hope and pray that our star will be one of many new stars in the new Milky Way. May our star and all of the stars around us shine brightly until all anger and hatred, fear and want fade away into the darkness of the universe. May it be so, and amen. Let's just hold 30 seconds together in sacred silence, just with our own thoughts, and I'll welcome us back in a few seconds. Fill us up. It's good to let things just roll off us, doesn't it? And I'll invite you now to rise in body or spirit as you're able and join in singing our closing hymn. It's number 123, Spirit of Life. There will be a text if you don't know the words to number 123. Thank you. Please be seated. Our closing words today are a second excerpt from Anne Frank's diary. This one is dated May the 3rd, 1944, 3 months before they were discovered. I've often been down in the dumps, but never desperate. I look upon our life in hiding as an interesting adventure, full of danger and romance, and every privation as an amusing addition to my diary. I've made up my mind to lead a different life from other girls and not to become an ordinary housewife later on. What I'm experiencing here is a good beginning to an interesting life. And that's the reason, the only reason, why I have to laugh at the humorous side of the most dangerous moments. I'm young and have many hidden qualities. I'm young and strong and living through a big adventure. I'm right in the middle of it and can't spend all day complaining because it's impossible to have any fun. I'm blessed with many things: happiness, a cheerful disposition, and strength. Every day I feel myself maturing. I feel liberation drawing near. I feel the beauty of nature and the goodness of people around me. Every day I think, what a fascinating and amusing adventure this is. With all that, why should I despair? This ends our reading. Thank you all so much for welcoming me here this morning and for your time and attention. It's just been a joy to be here. And I think Richard, we have to extinguish the chalice. I have to find the closing words. I thought I knew this by now. I think I do know it. I know, I can't find that. That's all right. We extinguish this flame. Please read it from your order. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of it, or the fire This we carry in our heart until we are together again. May your roots grow deep. May your branches grow wide. Blessed be. Go in peace. Have a wonderful week. And I believe Richard leads us now in a special ritual. Amen? No? Music, sorry. The prelude, yes. Okay.
Thank you.